embarrassing story for me. So I think I like kissed him. I honestly don't even remember that much. And I got rejected pretty hard. The more awkward part of the story is that like they're still like friends, and like this is my best friend. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lo, and today's video is another Fella Friday video. So Fella Friday is a series on my channel where I talk about a different kind of boy or fella each Friday. So today's story is about the best friend's friend, or like the friend's friend. Oh, this is gonna be such an embarrassing story for me, but it's fine. That's why I'm here, you know, to just like take you guys also on all my dating fails, because not every date is a success. So this story takes place in, I want to say like 2017, 2018. I'm not entirely sure when, but this is like a long time ago. So basically I have a guy best friend. I've known him my whole life, literally one of my favorite people in the world. And I always make jokes, but he's not a very good wingman to me. So what happened was one night me and him decided to go get a drink at a bar in Amsterdam. So we went, we had some champagne, we're like very bougie, champagne and oysters. It was really nice. And we just like were progressively getting more and more drunk. We were just talking and laughing. And he was like at a certain point, oh, should I invite some friends to come over to this bar as well? Because the bar, I don't mind saying it, it's Palladium in Amsterdam. If you guys know, it turns into a bit more of like a kind of club-ish, or like, I don't know, there's people like dancing and like having fun after like the dinner shift ends. So we like had our drinks and we're kind of sitting at the bar, and suddenly people were kind of dancing. It was more of a club vibe. He's like, oh, should I invite some friends? Like it might be fun. And I was like, yeah, no, that's cool. Like invite your friends. So he invited two friends of his, and one of them I'd met before and one of them I hadn't. The one I met before, like he's like one of his best friends, cool guy. And the other guy was like, oh, like he's cute, he's tall. I was like, well, this is my moment. And also when I'm drunk, especially when I was younger, like I was always like, I really want to hook up with someone. Like I just, you know, want to kiss someone. So I'm like trying to put my moves on this guy. Like we start talking. Definitely I'm like hardcore flirting, like trying to, I don't know, hook up. So me and this like my best friend's like guy friend are just, you know, like getting along really well, like having fun. My best friend and his other friend kind of leave us and they start like hitting on chicks. So it was kind of nice because it was like just the two of us, and I was like, oh, okay, this is my moment. So we end up like starting to kiss. I think I was like super taking charge in the situation, which is not always like me. So I think I like kissed him. I honestly don't even remember that much. This is stuff that like my best friend has told me afterwards, but I think I like kissed him and was like really like on top of it, like trying to get with him. But I mean, he was into it in the moment, I guess, because we did end up like kissing and we exchanged numbers, and I was kind of like, oh, this is perfect, like this is a cool guy. I feel like attraction towards him. Definitely wasn't looking for like a relationship or anything, but I was like, oh, this would be kind of fun to like hook up with this guy. So I think we exchanged numbers, and the next day I texted him like, hey, it was nice to meet you last night, do you want to like hang out again sometime? And I got rejected pretty hard. He was like, hey, no, sorry, like I'm just not interested. And I was like, but we spent all last night making out. And like, you know what it is, like I can just write off rejection, like it's totally fine. But like for that split second, it does sting. I'm like, oh, why did this happen? But I think it was like partly also me being like super aggressive in the situation. Like I really like, I don't know why, I just really wanted to hook up with him. So, I mean, sure, you're probably a great guy, I don't really know you that well, but in the moment I was just very much like, I want to hook up with him. So yeah, so I got like pretty rejected hardcore, and my friend still makes fun of like this situation because he was like Lois, he was so intense. Like I was like kind of like making out with him, grinding on him, like not okay in this bar. But I think the like the more awkward part of the story is that like they're still like friends, and like this is my best friend. So my best friend had like a birthday party a couple of years ago. I think by now it's also like almost 2 years ago, and he was gonna be there, and I was just like, this is so embarrassing, because like not like the whole rejection thing, but I think the fact that like he thought I was so into it, which I guess, yeah, like I was into it for the night and like I wanted to hook up with him again, but definitely wasn't like in love with this guy. But I feel like a lot of guys were like, oh my god, a girl's so interested in me. So like I was really nervous for this birthday party, just because I was like, oh, like it's gonna be awkward, and like I don't know, he's like rejected me, but it ended up being a really busy party, and he was there, like I saw him, like we made eye contact, but like we just both didn't say anything. I feel like part of me is like, ugh, if I would have been more ballsy, maybe I would have said something like, hey, like good to see you, but I was just like embarrassed by the situation. And I think that's kind of like my advice. Like this isn't, you know, like a super crazy story, but I think this happens where like that's a pretty good way to meet people nowadays. It's like via friends, like friends of friends, but it does kind of lead to the awkwardness of like when you get rejected after like a Tinder date or in a bar, like you're probably never gonna see that person again, and this kind of like seeing someone again and feeling that rejection again is kind of like but also we're all human, and I'm like, if that guy 2 years later still thinks that I'm like in love with him, which I was never in love with him to begin with, but he still thinks that I like want to hook up with him or whatever, then that's kind of like him being weird, not me. Like what do people say? What do the cool kids say? I shot my shot. I'm shooting my shot. Well, I shot my shot with him and it didn't work, which is totally fine. Like he just wasn't interested for whatever reason. Okay. And even if I see him in social settings again, like it's fine. I feel like though, maybe now that I'm like a bit older, I would just try to make it less awkward. So I'd be like, hey, like how are you doing? Like actually actively talking to someone, because I think avoiding them is kind of like adding to this awkwardness. So I guess that would be my advice. Like, hey, rejection is normal, guys. Like it happens to everyone. It sucks if it's in like a friendship setting that you're gonna see these people again, but it happens to the best of us, and just like act normal and it'll go back to normal. Like it's totally fine. And I think like now, I mean, I think there's something to be said for like I'm happy I asked him to hang out again, and it was clear that he didn't want to, because otherwise I might have been wondering like, oh, maybe this guy wants to like hang out with me again, like why isn't he texting me? But I mean, that's just always kind of the risk with shooting your shot, is also the rejection, which I always try to sell myself, because I know I have a lot of friends as well who just like get upset, and I know I'm human, of course I get upset when I get rejected, like trust me, but I think it's also just, you know, telling yourself that there's 7 billion people in the world. Most likely you're not going to be a match with someone, and it's nothing to do with you personally. So yeah, this was kind of a story. It's like a short little story, but I feel like this happens to a lot of people. I feel like this is a really normal way to meet someone, is like via friends. I have to say my best friend is kind of a bad wingman, but if you're watching this, but yeah, I think it's like a normal situation that people get in, and I think don't beat yourself up too much about rejection. Move on and try to like not make it awkward by avoiding someone. You know, it happens to the best of us. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Let me know if you've had any experiences getting with your friends, good or bad. I'm curious. I know a lot of friends who have actually like started relationships that way, when they're like, oh, I think you guys should meet, and then that happens. So probably also go better than it went for me. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again soon for a new video. Bye guys.